From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, this is the news at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Anne Waodo.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, PDP holds NEC meeting amid police clash. Back Samuel Anyanwu as secretary. Sets July the 23rd for meeting. APC sets July the 24th, 2025 for NEC meeting to nominate new national chairman. President Bola Tinubu announces Nigeria and Lucia diplomatic ties, describes it as a symbolic bridge. And medics and eyewitnesses say at least 20 Palestinians have been killed in Israeli strikes at a crowded seafront cafe in western Gaza. In our business, Nigeria's foreign reserve declined by $3.5 billion in the first half of 2025.
On sports news tonight, world number 2 Carlos Alcaraz begins Wimbledon title defense with a nervy 5-set victory over Italian veteran Fabio Fognini.
And from the nation's capital, FCT minister alleges that University of Abuja illegally acquired 11,000 hectares of land.
We begin with politics, and the People's Democratic Party has held its 100th National Executive Committee meeting under very tight security in the nation's capital, Abuja. Well, the meeting has been a subject of controversy, with different groups within the party holding varying views on its legitimacy. But earlier in the day, armed policemen took over the venue of the meeting, denying members of the party's Board of Trustees entrance, forcing them to hold their meeting outside the National Secretariat. This is Wadata Plaza, the National Secretariat of the People's Democratic Party, venue of the party's National Executive Committee meeting. The unusually heavy presence of armed police officers is already creating tension between the police and some members of the party staff. Some members of the Board of Trustees who came for the meeting are also not allowed to access the venue of their meeting.
Nigerians are watching. You came to our office surrounded by police because you want to have a meeting? Where you want to turn us to North Korea? Or turn this country to Russia? We will not allow it.
BOT members of the party later gather at the Yaradua Center for a meeting, while governors elected on the PDP platform hold a separate meeting at the Bauchi State Governor's Lodge.
What's your first reaction to the barricade by the police?
It wasn't a barricade, it was a job of policing to make the place secure for accredited NEC members that are coming, so that we don't get miscreants and charlatans to take over the place.
Calm later returns to the venue, and the NEC meeting of the PDP commences, with serving and some former governors as well as members of the BOT in attendance.
The chairman, BOT.
The acting national chairman of the PDP sets the tone, announcing the agenda.
And this NEC is going to deliberate on only one item, so that we don't run foul of the other regulators masculine of asking us to do this or that.
The chairman of the PDP Board of Trustees and chairman of the PDP Governors Forum also take turns to address the gathering.
We shall survive. The god of politics is in this party, and we hope to take over power in 2027.
The goal of leaving us, people leaving the party, are all cosmetic. They are all created to diminish us. We are all on the same page.
no excuse for coalition.
The meeting then enters into a closed-door session. About 2 hours after, the meeting ends and the acting national chairman briefs journalists about their resolutions.
We were all together and we all agree that Senator Anyao will continue to act as National Secretary and also to bring the issue of convention to bring it up in the next NEC, which is slated for 23rd of next month.
The PDP recent crisis centers around the national secretaryship of the party, a matter that members of the National Executive Committee say they have settled ahead of the next NEC meeting, which has been scheduled for July 23rd.
Meanwhile, the Federal Capital Territory Police Command has refuted claims that it sealed off the People's Democratic Party Secretariat located in Wuse Zone 5 in the FCT. In a statement issued by the FCT Police Public Relations Officer, Josephine Ade, the command described the reports as false, misleading, and completely inaccurate. Ms. Ade also clarified that police personnel were merely deployed to the Secretariat to maintain law and order in line with their constitutional duty to ensure public safety. She emphasizes that at no point was the PDP Secretariat shut down by the police. The acting national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, the APC, Ali Bukar Dalori, is assuring members of the party of his dedication to carry out his new role with transparency, inclusiveness, and the unity of purpose. Addressing members of the National Working Committee of the party in Abuja shortly after assuming office, Mr. Dalori says he is grateful for the continuous support and loyalty of the party as he is prepared to work with members as partners in the collective task of safeguarding the party's unity, discipline, and direction. The acting national chairman appealed to members of the NEC to keep their eyes on the bigger picture. That's delivering good governance to the Nigerian people, deepening democracy within the party structure, and preparing for future with clarity and determination. He also adds that as they prepare for the 2027 elections, party faithful must begin now to strengthen the party's internal process, reconnect with their grassroots, and re-energize their structures across all levels. Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu has announced the establishment of diplomatic relations with St. Lucia, describing it as a symbolic bridge that will provide a gateway in fostering closer ties between the United States. While President Bola Tinubu, while addressing a special joint session of the Senate and House of Assembly of St. Lucia in the Caribbean nation as part of the state visit, also announced that he would offer full scholarships to students of Organization of Eastern Caribbean States to promote cultural understanding, which further strengthens the bond between Nigeria and the Eastern Caribbean states. Our State House correspondent Larry Lasisi reports.
The motorcade of President Bola Tinubu arriving for the special joint sitting of the Senate and the House of Assembly of St. Lucia. The president is received by a guard of honor. From there, he's led into the hall. Gathered are members of the parliament, the Prime Minister of St. Lucia, leaders of the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, and members of the Nigerian delegation. Welcoming the President of the Senate emphasized the special nature of the visit.
Mr. President, Your Excellency, your presence here is historic, not only for this parliament, but for the people of St. Lucia as a whole, represented here by the honorable members of the House of Assembly. For it was from these shores and lands of Nigeria and other West African countries that our ancestors and forefathers started arriving here in European slave ships.
Addressing the assembly, President Tinubu touched on both nations' shared African heritage and Pan-African ideals.
This occasion serves as a testament to the enduring ideas of Pan-Africanism and to the unyielding desire for unity and collaboration among peoples of African descent. It is in this context that I reaffirmed OECS as a cherished partner of Nigeria.
The president outlined some sectors that can be mutually beneficial to both countries and also announced some steps.
To further deepen our partnership, I recommend that our two parties initiate negotiations towards a formal agreement on a joint commission or political consultation, such as framework that will provide structural platform to explore and advance cooperation across a broader range of mutually beneficial areas.
Speaking afterwards, the Prime Minister thanked President Tinubu for the visit and made clear his optimism for the future of the coming partnership between both countries.
With an aging population, our healthcare system is in need of strengthening. So our doors remain open to Nigerian doctors, nurses and specialists under Nigeria's talent export initiatives. Such a collaboration will enhance healthcare access and outcomes, potentially serving as a model for the wider Caribbean.
Not long after, the Speaker of the House of Assembly put the question for the House to adjourn.
As many as of their opinion say aye. Aye. As many as of a contrary opinion say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Sitting adjourned.
This visit is part of efforts to deepen Nigeria's engagement with Caribbean nations and strengthen South-South cooperation. The president is to have more meetings and engagements as he seeks to maximize this visit. Lanre Lasese, Channels Television News.
In part two, after the break, House of Representatives gives Rivers Sole Administrator 48 hours to explain key items in 1.48 trillion naira budget. Please join us again. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, broadcasting live from Lagos. A reminder of our main stories. The PDP holds NEC meeting amid police clash. Back Samuel Anyanwa's National Secretary sets July 23rd for meeting. APC sets July the 24th, 2025, a NEC meeting to nominate new national chairman. President Bola Tinubu announces Nigeria and St. Lucia's diplomatic ties, describes it as a symbolic bridge. Medics and eyewitnesses say at least 20 Palestinians have been killed in Israeli airstrikes on crowded seafront cafe in western Gaza. The suspended lawmaker representing Kogi Central, Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, has been arraigned before Justice Mohammed Umar of the Federal High Court, Abuja, on cybercrime charges. Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan was arraigned on a 6-count charge filed by the Director of Public Prosecution of the Federation, Mr. Mohammed Abubakar. She pleaded not guilty and was granted bail and self-recognition. Our correspondent, Emanuela Ekele, reports.
The lawmaker representing Kogi Central Senatorial District in the National Assembly, Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, arrives at Federal High Court Abuja for her arraignment by the federal government on allegations of cybercrime against the Senate President, Senator Godswill Akpabio, and former Kogi State Governor, Mr. Yahaya Bello. She's accompanied by her husband. Present in court also is a social activist, Aisha Yesufu, and other supporters.
She was arraigned on June 19th on a 3-count charge of alleged defamation before Justice Chizoba Orji of the FCT High Court, Abuja. Among the particulars of the charge are claims that while addressing a gathering on April 4, 2025 in Ihema community in Kogi State, she alleged that the Senate President, Senator Godswill Akpabio, instructed former Governor Yahaya Bello to have her killed in Kogi State. She was also alleged to have, in a television interview, repeated similar claims that the Senate President and the former Governor of Kogi State plotted to kill her in her state. She pleaded not guilty to the 6-count charge. In view of her plea, the prosecuting lawyer, Mr. Muhammad Abubakar, sought a date for the commencement of trial. He added that he did not file any counter affidavit, but urged the court to grant bail on condition that we secure her attendance in further proceedings. Her lawyer and senior advocate of Nigeria, Roland Otaru, informed the court that a motion for bail had been filed for his client. In a short ruling, Justice Muhammad Umar noted that the defendant is a serving senator and proceeded to grant her bail on self-recognition. He subsequently adjourned the case to September 22nd for commencement of trial.
This is a bailable offense. She has enjoyed a similar magnanimity by the Court of Coordinate Jurisdiction, and granting bail is the discretionary power of the court. So whether you oppose or not, if the court is mindful of granting a defendant bail, the court will grant.
It's what it's supposed to be. Let there be, giving her bail on self-recognition. But I expect the court to even strike it out, and not only that, to call on the federal government that we have so many things that are happening in the country, and it does not have the time, the resources to be wasted on the fact that there are 2 senators who have problems with each other.
The prosecution was not available for comments. Emanuela Ekele, Channels Television News.
The House of Representatives ad hoc committee on River State has issued a 48-hour ultimatum to the sole administrator of the state, Vice Admiral Ibok Etta Ibas, retired, to submit the breakdown of major items in the 2025 1.84 trillion naira appropriation bill. The chairman of the committee, Julius Ihobere, issued the ultimatum while questioning the allocation of 24 billion naira for CCTV cameras to be installed in the state government house and 30 billion naira for the purchase of gunboats, 23 billion naira earmarked for contingency reserves. The committee is also concerned about allocation of state funds to federal government projects across the state. The River State sole administrator was represented by the Senior Special Assistant on Strategy and Policy, Mr. Andrew Mweke.
The committee also believes that allocating state funds to undertake federal projects without existing agreements is not proper. Even if you met it, you should demand to see that document to be sure that state funds already allocated to the states does not find its way back to the federal government one way or the other. We are not against the project. We are just saying the proper thing should be done. The question of 30 billion for gunboats and 25 billion for contingency. We know River State has its own peculiarities, but we need additional details for those allocations. The documents will what? Within 48 hours. So give them 48 hours. If you can make it 24 hours, since these are not particularly complicated documents, that will be fine.
Let's continue the news at 10 now as we head to the Federal Capital Territory. There are studios there. Terry Kumi standing by to give us more. Over to you, Terry.
Well, thank you very much, Anne. Now, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Mr. Nyesom Wike, is accusing the University of Abuja of grabbing 11,000 hectares of land in the Gishiri area of the nation's capital. Mr. Wike, however, says he has reversed the university's action and ordered that only 4,000 hectares be allocated to the institution. It disclosed this during the commissioning of newly constructed access roads in the Giri district of the FCT.
This is the 13th project commissioning by the Federal Capital Territory Administration. The minister, alongside the Speaker of the House of Representatives, representing President Bola Tinubu, arrived at the ceremony. Giri district is located in Bangladesh Area Council of the Federal Capital Territory, and it's situated along the Abuja-Lokoja Expressway, a rapidly developing area. The road is open to most institutions like the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, to establish their academy.
It gives access to several developments in the district with some institutions such as the University of Abuja and the EFCC Academy present in the district already.
The major challenge that confronted us was to assess the site. We were actually at a loss on how to navigate this challenge until the Honorable Minister of FCT, the man called Mr. Project, came to our rescue.
The district also hosts the University of Abuja. However, the FCT minister raises an issue with the size of land grabbed by the institution. He also speaks on the importance of the new road.
The university on their own grabbed 11,000 hectares. I said that will not happen. No document, nothing. That's all you see them fencing everywhere. And before you know it, they were going to sell our land.
The Speaker of the House of Representatives is representing President Bola Tinubu at the ceremony. He is confident that the project will lead to rapid development of the area.
The intention to open up Giri district and the FCT, they show that under this administration, no community is too small, area too distant, citizen too insignificant to benefit from the dividends of democracy.
Done with the speeches, the minister accompanies the speaker to commission the project.
The Catholic Men's Guild of the Catholic Church of Assumption, Falomo, Lagos, has inducted new members into its fold. In a ceremony that held at a church in Lagos, our correspondent Olumide Macaulay reports that the older members welcomed the inductees as they forge ahead with their mandate, including protecting the doctrines of the church.
The Catholic Church of Assumption, Ikoyi, Lagos, a jewel amongst the parishes, and an opportunity for the 2025 induction of new members into the Catholic Men's Guild, whose patron saint is St. John the Baptist. But the first order of the service is for the feast of St. Peter and St. Paul.
Whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven.
The solemn ceremony in the Holy Citadel carries on as the congregation and the laity, as well as members of the Catholic Men's Guild in their positions, reverence obeisance to God.
Bound with 2 chains.
The first reading is delivered, taken from Acts chapter 12, verses 5 following.
And behold, an angel of the Lord appeared, and a light shone in the cell.
As is the second reading from 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 6 following.
From now on, there is laid up for me the crown of righteousness.
The sermon by the parish priest, Very Reverend Father Francis Ike, doesn't neglect to mention the admirable highlights of the qualities of St. Peter and St. Paul and the divine mandate of the Church of Jesus Christ.
Peter and Paul have become a twin name, though they were not biological twins. They were both called, both converted, both taught, and commissioned by Christ to be his messengers.
The hymn is rendered as the choir breaks out in song. The solemn service leads to the induction of the new members of the Catholic Men's Guild.
The Holy Catholic Church, striving to uphold the ideals of the foundation of marriage as ordained by God.
After the service, a former president of the Catholic Men's Guild, Elder James Efekodo, surmises the mandate.
We induct new people every year. We know that we want to do something and we cannot stay on forever. And these new ones will take over from where we stopped.
For the current president, the new inductees are greatly appreciated.
The induction of new members is a very important aspect. Every organization that does not increase in number will go into extinction. So by getting in new members, the organization is constantly growing, and we are happy to have new people joining us.
One of the members of the Catholic Men's Guild, a senior advocate of Nigeria, speaks on why the transition is so important.
The whole idea is to bring people into the Catholic Men's Guild. And the idea of the Catholic Men's Guild is to propagate the Catholic faith, using our influence, using our relationship, right? And so it's important that we get people who can live that vision and carry it out and reflect the big principle of Catholicism.
Inductees expressed their enthusiasm.
As much as the family is the smallest unit of the society are required to make the society greater, so if we have good families, we will have good societies. So it positions us to be better heads of our families and better heads in our respective sects in the society or our professions as it stands.
A group photo preserves the memories.
Inspired by the passion of the Christ and his holy ascension, the church continues to go strong. And for the Catholic Church, the Catholic Men's Guild sets about to fulfill its mandate of the protection of the doctrines of the church with the induction of new members. Reporting from the Catholic Church of Assumption in Ikoyi, Lagos, Olumide Macaulay, Channels Television News.
Still ahead on News at 10, Nigeria's foreign reserves declined by $3.5 billion in the first half of 2025. That's in business news. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news at 10. First Exploration and Petroleum Development Company Limited has celebrated the accomplishment of a major operational safety milestone, the 10 million man-hours without a lost time incident LTI. The company says it is proud to announce that the NNPC First E&P joint venture on PML 53 and PML 54 achieved this across all of its operations on the 9th of June 2025, as management, staff, contractors and regulators gather to mark what is described as industry milestone achievement in Lagos.
It's a proud moment for First Exploration and Petroleum Development Company Limited as the company celebrates an industry-defining achievement, 10 million man-hours without a lost time incident. Leading the celebration is the chairman, Odain Ajimogobia, flanked by Managing Director and CEO Ademola Adeyemo-Bero, the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Senator Heineken Lukpobiri, and key figures from Nigeria's oil and gas industry. Speaking at the event, the Managing Director Ademola Adeyemo-Bero attributed the success to meticulous planning and disciplined execution, urging the team to stay focused and build on this standard.
Today, as we mark this significant milestone, let us reaffirm our commitment to sustaining this unbroken record and to continuing to build a culture of safety and operational excellence across every site, every project, and every partnership.
In his goodwill message, Senator Lukpobiri commended First E&P for setting the bar in safety, compliance, and efficiency, stating that such achievements reflect positively on Nigeria's upstream oil and gas landscape.
The next, 10 billion hours, which I know you can, which I know every staff that was part of, the story, from 1 hour to 10 million hours with concerted efforts, with real commitment, can also do 20 million hours.
Also lending his voice, the Executive Vice President Upstream, NNPC Limited, Udobong Ntia, emphasized the importance of collaboration and excellence in achieving such complex operational targets.
You work the right structures. You put in place the right people, the right organization. So my goal is to see how we can transition that kind of excellent work that I saw.
For the chairman, Oden Ajimogobia, the achievement reflects not just discipline, but determination across all levels of the company.
For us at First ENP, it's really about every day, every task, every aspect of every task. And that's really how we have to see it to be able to get to the next milestone. And the culture that's been developed has allowed us to do that, to focus on every single task. Everyone is focusing on the task that they have to do and make sure it's done safely.
From the first steel cut on the Anyala platform in December 2018, First ENP says this milestone is not the end, but the foundation for greater impact. Stakeholders say First ENP's track record of safety and performance sets a benchmark worth emulating.
Well, that's all from the nation's capital. The rest of the news continues in Lagos with Anna.
Thank you, Terry. Former Vice President has announced that he will return to university after retiring from politics, highlighting his passion for education and human capital development. Mr. Atiku Abubakar stated this in Abuja while presenting his keynote address at the Paysetter School Abuja class of 2025 at the graduation and prize-giving ceremony where 205 students graduated. Our correspondent Benny Ark reports.
This is the Paysetter Group of Schools class of 2025 graduation, speech and prize-giving day ceremony in Abuja. In attendance is the former Vice President of Nigeria, Mr. Atiku Abubakar, dignitaries, Group of Schools, mother of the chairman, Mrs. Elizabeth Imasuagbon, graduating pupils, parents, families, and invited guests. The ceremony featured recitations, music, and dance presentations by pupils of the school to the thrill of invited guests. In his opening remarks, the chairman of the school expresses his delight with the presence of a former vice president and urged the students to dream big.
Today, class of 2005, you are a privileged class. It is only Atiku Abubakar that can do this kind of favor, because he's a kind man. He's here to honor you. Tap the anointing. Take the anointing. Release the anointing. Be what you want to be.
Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, who doubles as a special guest of honor and keynote speaker, highlights his passion for education development.
For me, there is nothing you could have given me more than this. It's a wonderful opportunity because that is my passion. Even after retirement, I look forward to going back to the university myself. So I wish you every success in life, and God bless you all.
Then came the recognition and presentation of awards to the best overall pupils from across the school's various grades and classes.
Overall best SS3, Paysetters College.
There were also presentations of special award to distinguished individuals, including the former vice president and mother of the chairman, Mrs. Elizabeth Imasuagbon. As the school draws the curtain on the graduation of the class of 2025, the chairman says it remains focused with the goals of refining pupils with the skills necessary to make positive impact in the society. Benny Ark, Channels Television News.
Still to come on the news at 10. Medics and eyewitnesses say at least 20 Palestinians have been killed in Israeli airstrikes on crowded seafront cafe in western Gaza. And that's on the foreign scene. Please stay with us. Welcome back. We'll continue the news at 10 now. For more business stories, Will Ebong is standing by.
Thank you, Anne. Now, Nigeria's external reserves have declined by $3.5 billion in the first half of the year. The central bank data shows reserves fell from $40.88 billion at the end of 2024 to $37.37 billion as of June the 26th, with a consistent slide observed throughout the month of June. In just under 4 weeks, about $1.07 billion was lost, with the reserves dipping nearly $294 million in the last week alone. Analysts say this could put pressure on the Naira despite steady inflows from exporters and foreign investors. Now we're checking on the domestic stock market, which ended the final trading day of June flat as the index fell by 0.01%. Laddie Williams has the details.
Hello and welcome to the stock market close summary for today. That's the last trading day of June. That's ending flat today. Just about 1 basis point drop there. Still maintaining the 119,000 level, but below the 120,000 psychological level at this point. Let's see which stocks made money today and who the laggards are. Yeah, leading pack, we see CWG there. That's a Computer Warehouse Group. That leads today with a big 10% jump to close at 12.65 kobo. The company engages in supply, installation, support of computer equipment, e-payment hardware in multiple African countries. I had a peep at investing.com terminal earlier, and pro tip shows the company has raised its dividends for about 3 consecutive years. We also see Nimeth International Pharmaceuticals PLC up big, but the relative strength index there, that's looking at the technicals there, that's in overbought regions there. So investors there will be watching out for that. 6.53 kobo, that's the close. Well, as we say goodbye to the month of June, first half of 2025 and the second quarter, the stock market is bullish at this point, with a big 16% gain year to date. So I guess at this point is see you in the second half, maybe with the bulls.
Thank you, Laddie. Let's see the performance of other major global markets now. And that's business news. It's back to you, Anne.
Thank you, Will. A delegation from the federal government of Nigeria has visited the Dantata family in Medina in Saudi Arabia to offer condolences and participate in funeral rites for the late elder statesman and business icon, Alhaji Aminu Dantata. A statement by the Special Assistant to the Minister of Information and National Orientation says the delegation, which has the Minister of Defense, Mohammed Abubakar, the Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, as well as Minister of State for Housing and Urban Development, Yusuf Atta, arrived Medina today ahead of the burial. Alhaji Dantata died on Saturday in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates, at the age of 94. And outside our shores, at least 20 Palestinians were killed today in an Israeli airstrike that hit a popular seafront cafe frequently used by activists, journalists, and local residents in Western Gaza on Monday, and that's according to medics and eyewitnesses. Here's Simon Pisa with more international news and around the world in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5.
Tehran's deputy foreign minister says the US must rule out any further strikes on Iran if it wants to resume diplomatic talks. Majid Takht Ravanchi said the Trump administration told Iran through mediators that it wanted to return to negotiations this week, but had not made its position clear on the very important question of further attacks while talks are taking place. The US and Iran were involved in talks over Iran's nuclear program when Israel struck Iranian nuclear sites and military infrastructure earlier this month, and Iran responded with missiles. The US then became directly involved in the conflict on the 21st of June when it bombed 3 of Iran's nuclear sites.
We are hearing from Washington telling us that they want to talk. By the way, no date has been set. We have not agreed to the modality. Right now, we are seeking an answer to this question. Are we going to see a repetition of an act of aggression while we are engaging in dialogue?
So right now, there's an active shooter zone. They're shot. BC3's down, BC1's down. Everybody's shot up here. Law enforcement, code 3 now up here.
2 US firefighters have been killed and a third wounded after a man intentionally started a fire and began shooting at first responders in an ambush which lasted several hours. The gunman, who investigators said acted alone, began shooting after crews responded to a fire at Camfield Mountain in Idaho. Law enforcement officers and firefighters then came under sniper fire during the incident, and a special weapons and tactics team later located a deceased male close to where the attack took place.
We received reports of a fire on the east side of Camfield Mountain. Fire assets responded to the scene, and at approximately 2 p.m. this afternoon, it was reported that firefighters were receiving shots fired at them.
A sprawling budget bill in the US Senate could cut health insurance coverage for nearly 12 million Americans and add $3.3 trillion to the debt, according to new estimates. The assessment from the Congressional Budget Office, a nonpartisan federal agency, could complicate Republican efforts to pass President Donald Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill Act in the coming days. The spending plan narrowly cleared a preliminary vote in the Senate after party leaders scrambled to arm twist hesitant members of their rank and file.
It's a great bill. It's a popular bill, but we'll get no Democrats only because they don't want to vote for Trump. They have Trump derangement syndrome at levels never seen before.
Of course Americans hate this bill. It steals their Medicaid. It jacks up their premiums.
Civic rights groups say at least 7 people have been killed during a crackdown on protesters who are calling for Togo's leader, Faure Gnassingbe, to step down and release political prisoners. Reports say dozens more people were injured, some severely. It comes weeks after Gnassingbe, who was president for 2 decades and whose family has ruled the country for 58 years, was sworn into a new post of president of the Council of Ministers, which has no official term limits. The Togolese government has now threatened legal action against the protest organisers. A heatwave continues to grip large parts of Europe, with authorities in many countries issuing health warnings amid searing temperatures. Southern Spain is the worst affected region, with temperatures in the mid-40 degrees Celsius recorded in Seville and neighbouring areas. A new heat record for June of 46 Celsius was set on Saturday in the town of El Granado, according to Spain's National Weather Service, which also said this month is on track to be the hottest June on record. Red heat warnings are in force in parts of Portugal, Italy and Croatia. And humanoid robots kicked, scored and tumbled while competing at a Robo League football tournament in Beijing. 4 teams faced off in a series of 3-on-3 games, with the robots operating autonomously using AI-driven strategies. The event served as a preview to the upcoming World Humanoid Robot Games held in Beijing in August.
And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.
Many thanks, and it's time and welcome to Sports News. Following Kwara United's football's close victory of the President Federation Cup, Governor Abdulrahman Abdulrazak has approved a cash reward of 5 million naira and a plot of land at the Lorry Smart City for each player. Reception in the team's honor was hosted by the governor earlier today in the state capital. The package for the players was made known by the governor's senior advisor and councillor, Malam Salahuddin. Ahead of this weekend's kickoff of the highly anticipated CAF Women's Cup of Nations, the Confederation of African Football will launch a new trophy for the competition as part of efforts to elevate women's football in Africa. The new CAF Women's Cup of Nations trophy will be launched on Wednesday, July the 2nd in Morocco to host the host nation for this year's event. The new trophy is part of CAF President Patrice Motsepe's vision
to grow and develop women's football here in the continent. Tennis gets attention as Carlos Alcaraz survived a major scare from Italian veteran Fabio Fognini as the world number 2 started his bid for a third successive Wimbledon title with a marathon 5-set victory. Alcaraz battled to a 7-5, 6-7, 7-5, 2-6, 6-1 win over the 38-year-old Italian in the first round clash lasting over 4 hours and, of course, in sweltering conditions on center court. Alcaraz shrugged off an inconsistent display, including 62 enforced errors, as he refused to lose on the hottest opening day in the competition's history. With our sports, I'm Kelly. It's back to Anne.
Thank you, Kelly. And the main news again. The People's Democratic Party has held its NEC meeting amid police clash. The party backed Samuel Anyanwu as national secretary and set July the 23rd, 2025 for meeting. APC sets July 24, 2025 NEC meeting to nominate new national chairman. And President Bola Tinubu announces Nigeria and St. Lucia diplomatic ties, describes it as a symbolic bridge. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Anne Nwaudu. Have a wonderful night rest and stay safe.